Today, I chose to come and speak to the president, to use this platform to speak to the president and say, President Museveni, please talk to us as a nation. Speak to us. We need to know where we are heading in this Kisanja no more sleep.
There's nowhere.
Recently, you gave us your, what is it called? The State of the Nation address. My plea to you is that you give us a part 2 of the State of the Nation address.
See, this is the problem I find here. They're trying to appeal to Museveni through logic and reason. Museveni understands one language, violence. Now, I'm not trying to say we should be violence. But a violent man should be boycotted, should be resisted, should be ignored. Museveni, when you be like, oh, tell us, please give us part 2 of the State of the Nation address, Museveni's not going to be like, hey, I'm sorry for my son, for the actions of abductions, torturing, and killing of innocent people. He's not going to do that. He's a man who has never left the bush war. He looks at every person opposed to his ideas as an enemy that needs to be annihilated.
That we bleed through. Somewhere in a dream he had an epiphany. Now we right the wrongs, the history. No one can win the war
Individually,
it takes the wisdom of the elders
and young people's energy.
Welcome to the story we call victory.
Glory.
The coming of the Lord, our eyes have seen the glory. One day,
Yes.
when the glory comes,
Exactly.
it will be ours. It's ours. It will be ours. To the Obamas, the glory is ours. One day, Obama said,
Glory. Glory.
Brother, glory. Chi-town is for the uniting voices. Glory. When the war is won, glory. When it's all said and
Come on.
done,
Glory.
we'll cry
Glory. Glory. Oh my God. What an amazing performance. Ladies and gentlemen, I watched this. This is the launch of the Obama Presidential Center.
Opportunity Alliance.
I watched this as then I juxtapose this with what I'm seeing in Uganda, and you cannot help but break your heart, because former president of the USA is launching a presidential center, pretty much a library. And in Uganda, we're trying to find ways of how to convince Museveni not to torture, not to abduct, not to kill innocent citizens. The contrast couldn't be more stark. What? We are pleading. I'm going to have to show you. This is why I didn't like the speech of this woman, which I wanted to show you today. I didn't like her speech because this is what she's... listen to what she's talking to Museveni, and I want you to listen to what she's doing here.
Today, I chose to come and speak to the president, to use this platform to speak to the president and say, President Museveni, please talk to us as a nation. Speak to us. We need to know where we are heading in this Kisanja no more sleep.
There's nowhere.
Recently, you gave us your, what is it called? The State of the Nation address. My plea to you is that you give us a part 2 of the State of the Nation address.
See, this is the problem I find here. They're trying to appeal to Museveni through logic and reason. Museveni understands one language, violence. Now, I'm not trying to say we should be violence. But a violent man should be boycotted, should be resisted, should be ignored. Museveni, when you be like, oh, tell us, please give us part 2 of the State of the Nation address, Museveni's not going to be like, hey, I'm sorry for my son, for the actions of abductions, torturing, and killing of innocent people. He's not going to do that. He's a man who has never left the Bush War. He looks at every person opposed to his ideas as an enemy that needs to be annihilated. It doesn't matter. You will appeal to him 1 billion times. He will never change his heart. Now, do I pray and hope he does? Absolutely. But he's really gotten to a point where is a place that is irredeemable, so to say.
Very, very soon, maybe by end of business today, to tell us about the state of constitutionalism, rule of law, and governance in this country.
The man does it. See, this is why I don't like these nice speeches. Oh, President, tell us about constitutionalism and the rule of law. Lady, a man appointed his son commander of the defense forces. A man has watched when his son has unleashed terror on his political opponents. He has actually used the same rhetoric his son uses. Remember when we're headed for 2026 elections? He said, I have my soldiers, they have guns and each gun carries 120 bullets. This is the president saying, hey, you know what I'm going to do to you? I might massacre all of you. So be very careful. What are you even talking about, lady?
Country. Your previous State of the Nation address spoke about PDM, about the cattle corridor in the 1950s, I don't know what, about imperialism, correcting us that it's not Kisanja, no sleep, but...
You're asking more of the same. He's not changed his rhetoric. He presents himself as this special knowledge, this special person who knows the history of the world, is a narcissistic sociopath who will give you a lecture of 40 minutes about foods he doesn't eat, and that he wants you to look at him as special. I don't eat rice because I don't drink brass. I don't eat pork. I don't want to know whether you drink, whether you do not. I don't want to know. Those are your choices. There's an element in economics that teaches us about consuming and supply. Demand and supply. It's called tastes and preferences. What you like might not be my liking. The Englishman says, one man is meat is another man is poison. So the president is going to spend 45 minutes telling us, I don't drink this, I don't eat this meat. I don't care. If you don't eat it, it's okay. Let others who enjoy it enjoy.
Sanja, no more sleep. To fight poor governance, corruption in this country. And here we are. Here we are watching the Pearl of Africa deteriorating with one circus after another, that we are finding it even hard to sleep in our homes, in our beds. We don't know who is next. So as our father, President Museveni and Mama Janet, just a few months ago, I think you delivered some kind of national apology.
It was never an apology. It was never an apology. It was a facade, a veneer, a mirage of an apology. Guess what happened a day after them apologizing? They were abducting, torturing, and killing innocent people. It was never an apology. They have this Christian, quote-unquote, Christian daughter who is a pastor. What's her name? Patience? Who told them, hey, Dad, we want you to apologize. And they went like, now with Janet Kata and Museveni. Now we say sorry to people of Buganda, for the mistake. They never meant a single word from that national apology. Apology is not just uttering, spewing words. No, apology is change of course. Changing your actions. That's real apology.
There was a national apology.
Never.
To the nation for the mistakes that have been made since 1986 when you came into power and then to date. And yeah, you left us with hope that by the time a parent or two
He
parents...
never left me with a scintilla. Not a modicum. Zero iota of hope. Zero. I looked at him and I laughed. I actually made a comment. I'm like, okay, look at this circus. We want to apologize. I'm sorry.
actually make a national apology, then we are going to see fundamental change. But where we are today, it's doubtful. We are not yet seeing that fundamental change in reality to make us understand that.
I mean, that alone should tell you everything about Museveni. You say, where we are, we do not see that fundamental change. Look, Museveni promised at the parliamentary stairs in 1986, this is not a mere change of guards. It is a fundamental change. It is a promise of 1986. If a man has not delivered on that promise he made in 1986, what makes you believe that he's going to deliver on that promise in 2026? It's not going to happen. Give up already.
The aspirations of the Constitution embedded there. Just
a man bribed members of parliament, each with 5 million shillings in 2005, to amend the Constitution to remove term limits. Is the same man who sent his jack-booted thugs and Special Force Command in Parliament to break backs, to beat up, to maim members of Parliament so that they amend the Constitution to remove age limit. You're telling this man about the Constitution?
In the preamble, if nobody wants to read the entire Constitution because they say Ugandans, I don't know, Africans don't want to read, hide information in the book, at least read the preamble alone.
What? You're telling Museveni to read the preamble? Preamble talks about our history that was characterized by violence, bloodshed, name it. Guess what? Museveni came to power after being opposed to a democratic experiment, the 1980 election. After performing abysmally, the Katumba Oye of 1980, he launches a war against the government of Apollo Milton Obote. So the Constitution, when talking about, it says, remembering our past that was characterized, that's a preamble. I'm poorly paraphrasing here, but that was characterized by bloodshed and violence. The man is the creator of that violence.
To tell you the aspirations of this Constitution, where our foreparents who fought the wars that you fought when you came into power was 1986. I was only in P7, rather P1. All I remember is my teacher telling me, duck down under the desks. I was in Shimoni Primary School, and I think you were taking over Radio Uganda.
Okay, this man has betrayed those veterans. He abducted one of them from Kenya. That one is 70 years old. He's keeping him in prison. Others had to flee Uganda. Others decided to keep their mandibles shut because they know the cost of speaking out. He doesn't care. He's a self-serving, narcissistic sociopath that you have to know for who he is. He's not going to change.
And bullets were raging all over the place. And the teacher told us, duck down under the tables. And I recall my auntie came for me. I think she was living maybe closest to, or working closest to Radio Uganda, picked me up and took me to her home. I spent that whole time in Bugolobi where my auntie stayed. And then a few months, so I don't even know how much time the war took, but I know thereafter my auntie took me back to our home, which was in Kabalagala, just above Kabalagala police station there. But on our way around Zambia police barracks and so on there, I could see men, women with bandage all over their heads and arms and
This man was selfish. He took advantage of the oppressed, of the downtrodden, of the disenfranchised, of the disillusioned. He never cared. He looked at a man, let me give an example of what Museveni was. He looked at a woman who has been oppressed, who has been beaten up by the husband, who has been abused for years. And then he comes as someone who is going to offer help. And as a vulnerable person, you fall for a man who is promising you help. Says, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to get you out of that house of that man, and I'll do this for you. But after he's treated you a little bit, then he starts abusing you sexually. That's what Museveni did. He didn't believe a thing, zero. He was a charlatan from the word go, shrewd. And that's what he's been able to entrench this dictatorship for years. When he goes to the West, he presents Uganda as a democratic country. When he comes to Uganda, he says, my oil, my army, my whatever. He says, I'm not your servant. These are not my words verbatim. Museveni says, I hear people calling me their servant. I am not your servant. Verbatim, you can go on, type in your YouTube, I'm not your servant, Museveni, you're going to see it. It's a man who said to Jeff Koinange, a Kenyan journalist, he says, I don't care. He asked him, do you really care? Don't you think you're tired? Don't you think it's enough? He said, I don't care. All I care about are my children, my grandchildren. His words, I'm quoting him verbatim to the T. I don't like this speech. Museveni doesn't care. When you say like, oh, please give us another State of Nation address, a different version, okay. You're telling him to come and give you the most boring, sleepy speech, then in the 1700, intercaste region, and then he goes into blaming Idi Amin Dada and Obote, yet is worse than both of them combined. I don't like these kind of speeches. I don't. Oh, Museveni, please, please. He needs to be resisted. He needs to be isolated. He needs to be called out for what he is. That doesn't mean violence. Absolutely not. I'm a non-violent person. I don't want violence. I don't want people to get guns because we've had enough of that. But all people should speak in unison. Call him for what it is. This pleading, he loves that. Because to him now you're feeding his ego. He's like, see, they're wanting me. They want to hear me talk. Oh, they want to hear me talk. That's what he thinks. I'll stop here. Enough of my fighting. Let me go back and see what's going on with Obama. Launch of the Obama Presidential Center. Oh, Michelle is speaking.
Our parks clean. Volunteers dedicating their weekends to coaching t-ball, or directing the church choir, or mentoring a child. That's where the truth of this country lies. Not in grabbing as much as we can get for ourselves, or knocking folks down to prop ourselves up.
Mm-hmm. How timely.
But in the overwhelming goodness, the relentless striving, the quiet dignity that is inside all of us. Mm-hmm. Our greatest hope is that this center can reflect back just a fraction of that light. That it can capture the beauty of who we all are, no matter what we look like.
Museveni thinks he's the only beautiful person.
Money we earn, or how we pray, or vote, or speak, or love.
Yeah, Museveni cannot say those words. I mean, surely after the killing of people at Muhammad Mwanga Chivumbi's home, do you remember what he said? Opposition has three people. One, Ivo and Simanya had bad intentions, and others are not serious. He believes that he's the only smart person in the world. So let me go back and watch this grand opening of the Obama Presidential Center. Look, other presidents who served are opening presidential centers. Museveni is like, I want to be president. And then he's got minions and simps on social media who will be like, Musei. Those don't bother me because I know for sure there are some people who defended slavery. They look back at slavery with disdain and disgust. But if you listen to what they say about the Museveni criminal regime, you'd see that they would defend slavery then. All right. My name is Mordecai Morisa. Let me know what you think. And I am sorry if emotions got in my way or got the best of me. I shouldn't be driven by emotions. But I am still stuck on that. Museveni doesn't care about any person.
Did you enjoy what you just watched?
I'm sure they did.
I'm going to guess that you did. How about you consider subscribing to Mordecai Marissa Live YouTube channel? Thank you.